In our last episode, Abdulhamid remade the empire in his image: spies in the schools, censors in the press, railways laid to carry troops instead of trade. And when Armenians rose to demand reforms, he answered with the sword of Osman, in blood. But in the shadows of his victories, he was forging his own executioners. The schools he built, the officers he trained, the railways he laid, all would carry not loyalty, but rebellion. This is road to destruction, the world wars. By the 1890s, the Ottoman Empire seemed frozen under Abdulhamid's gaze. The constitution was dead, parliament silenced, the press gagged, students drilled in classrooms watched by police spies. Yet beneath the surface, discontent boiled. Intellectuals fled to Paris, London, and Geneva, where they printed newspapers and manifestos that smuggled their way back into Istanbul. In smoky cafes on the Boulevard Saint-Germain, exiled Ottomans dreamed of revolution. They called themselves the Young Turks. At first, the name was loose, a label for students, writers, and exiles demanding a return to the Constitution of 1876. But over time, it hardened into a movement. At its heart was the Committee of Union and Progress, or the Ittihad ve Terakki Cemiyeti, founded in 1889 when 4 medical students, Ibrahim Temo, Abdullah Cevdet, Ishak Sukuti, and Mehmed Reshid, swore an oath to remake the empire. What began in a dormitory spread to the Masonic lodges of Salonika, where Jewish, Greek, and Turkish members alike provided cover for conspiracy. Soon, military garrisons in Macedonia swore oaths by candlelight, pledging their lives to liberty. The paradox was inescapable. The very schools Abdulhamid built to strengthen the empire became breeding grounds for dissent. Young officers drilled with wooden rifles while Russia, Britain, and Greece armed to the teeth. They read European journals while their own newspapers were censored. They learned the language of nationalism and liberty, while at home every word was suspect. And the railways Abdulhamid laid, meant to carry soldiers and supplies, now carried books, pamphlets, and subversive ideas from Paris to Salonika to Istanbul. The empire's lifelines had become arteries of rebellion. From Paris, Ahmed Riza, a positivist inspired by Auguste Comte, spread the Cup's doctrine of progress and order. Others, like Prince Sabahaddin, preached liberalism and decentralization. Their manifestos clashed, but all agreed on one thing: Abdulhamid's rule was a dead end. And in exile, their voices were amplified by Europe, where every Ottoman dissident found a willing press eager to undermine the Sultan. Inside the empire, the underground grew. Secret lodges in Salonika and Monastir, cities teeming with soldiers, Jews, Greeks, Armenians, and Turks, became centers of conspiracy. Students circulated banned journals under their desks. Officers passed pamphlets between barracks. Abdulhamid's police uncovered plot after plot, but the repression was its own poison. Every arrest bred more conspirators. Every exile was a lesson in resistance. Every execution turned rebels into martyrs. Abdulhamid thought he was crushing dissent, but he was multiplying it. No wonder Ahmed Riza in Paris joked, "Abdulhamid is the best recruiter for the Committee of Union and Progress." And Abdulhamid had reason to fear. Across Europe, anarchists and radicals struck down kings and queens, ministers and monarchs. Tsar Alexander II blown apart in St. Petersburg, Empress Elizabeth stabbed in Geneva, King Umberto of Italy gunned down in Monza. If emperors in Vienna and St. Petersburg could fall, why not Istanbul? To Abdulhamid, the line between student and assassin was dangerously thin, and he would treat them all as conspirators. The opposition was not united. Some dreamed of restoring the constitution and parliament. Others wanted a new Ottoman nationalism built on Turkish identity. Still others hoped for decentralization, giving Arabs, Kurds, and Armenians autonomy within the empire. But what bound them together was a shared enemy: Abdulhamid. By the early 1900s, Abdulhamid's empire was a paradox. Outwardly, it still stood. Railways stretched across Anatolia, the Hijaz Railway neared completion, palaces gleamed in Istanbul. But inside, the state was hollow. The schools produced rebels, the army plotted in secret, and the very word liberty, hurriyet, became a whispered prayer in the barracks. Mahmud II had broken the Janissaries to save the state. The Tanzimat had promised strength through reform, but each cut, each concession, each imitation of Europe had left the empire weaker. Now, the sons of Abdulhamid's own schools were preparing to finish the work, to topple the Sultan himself. Reform had not saved the empire, it had created its gravediggers. In our next episode, the Black Sea Flashpoint, a navy that never was. While the army simmered with rebellion, the Sultan's paranoia kept the navy chained in port. Russia built fleets, Germany courted alliances, and Ottoman sailors seethed at their humiliation. The empire's enemies were gathering at sea, but Abdulhamid feared his own ships more than any foreign fleet. This is Road to Destruction, the World Wars.